Power utility Eskom admits that load shedding could have a devastating impact on the economy and says it will comply with any process asked of it by national structures. This comes after renewed calls to have the current electricity problem declared a national crisis. Eskom says the Medupi Power Station will be up and running as a normal power station at the end of June latest this year, and it will generate a massive 800 megawatts. Eskom's Andrew Etzinger spoke to our reporter Nozintombi Mia.
Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew Etzinger of Eskom, giving us the latest on the power situation in the country. My first question, really, people want to know what exactly is the situation with the load shedding schedule? Where can they get it? And how concise and clear is the schedule?
It depends on who your supplier is. If you get your monthly electricity bill from Eskom, that means you're an Eskom customer. Please go to the Eskom call centre on 08600 37566 or the web site eskom.co.za has a copy of the load shedding schedule. So great to get it in advance. Our teams will either tell you over the phone or where you are on the load shedding schedule, or can email that load shedding schedule to you.
More and more calls have come forward asking for the situation at Eskom to be declared a national crisis. Do you think this is a fair assertion? And what exactly would happen at Eskom if the situation is declared a national crisis?
Of course, Eskom and I'm sure all the authorities in the country would understand the devastating impact which load shedding has on the economy, on society, and the levels of frustration and emotion around load shedding. So I think it's completely understandable that there would be a call for action at high level within the country. From Eskom's point of view, of course, we would comply with whatever was put into motion. But realistically, let's come back to that car. The car doesn't have a spare wheel. There's no way that the spare wheel will magically appear in your car just because somebody says so. So unfortunately, while once again we agree to the sentiments, from Eskom's point of view, it's more important that we tackle the substantive issues which are holding the country back from an electricity point of view. And it really comes back to the point that we are short of a spare wheel, we're short of generation capacity. We need to build new power stations as soon as possible. The good news is that these are on the way. We're building Medupi, we're building Kusile, our Sierra wind farm will be finished in March. The independent power producers are bringing on power to the grid. So there's certainly light at the end of the tunnel.
Talking about the Medupi Power Station, when exactly are we expecting it to get ready, and how much of the country will it be powering?
We were hoping to connect the first unit at Medupi Power Station to the grid on the 24th of December. Unfortunately, there have been some delays, technical issues that we've needed to iron out before we could get going. So we're looking now at February for the first time that the unit will be connected to the grid. We'll then go through a test phase, and by June we've said that it will be up and running just as a normal power station or generator on the grid. So that is looking very good. 800 megawatts, it's a very, very big generator. It won't in itself, unfortunately, get us out of the situation. We'll need a couple of subsequent generators at Medupi and one or two at the Kusile Power Station, which is also under construction. But the important thing is that we'll see things improve. I think as a whole of South Africa, we'll believe that new power is on its way, and it'll be a project which we can all be proud of as South Africans. It will be one of the biggest power stations in the world, one of the most sophisticated, best built power stations. Great engineering example for South Africa. Biggest construction site in the Southern Hemisphere at the moment.
Economists have said the situation at Eskom and the load shedding that we've had has seen about a 10% decline in the economy. Can you take us through this, and is this a fair assertion by different economists?
Different economists have come up with different estimates of the economic impact, and certainly we have that opinion. There are other economists who said that there's been virtually zero. The economic activity has been disrupted, but ultimately things have still got done. The food has still been delivered to shopping markets. The jobs have still been there. So there's different opinions as to what the economic impact is. But certainly, from Eskom's point of view, we would certainly absolutely acknowledge the fact that from an economic perspective, electricity is essential. We do need more. And very importantly, we have got a number of project proposals from large industry that we'd like to sign off and get going. So the long-term potential of using electricity for further mine expansion, smelter expansion is clearly there. We've got a significant amount of projects in our pipeline. So the good news is that we'll have the power to supply these. So we've certainly come through a disruptive time, but in the future we'll have the power and we'll have economic growth through electricity. That much is clear.
So there's no truth in what Darwin Road said. This is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is there are many, many different opinions. We have Darby's opinion. We have others. We have many, many others' opinions. Some more dire than Darby's, and some less, less dire than Darby's. So there's a spectrum of economic opinion as to what the impact has been. From Eskom's side, what we're saying is, irrespective of whether you look to the one side or the other, there has been a negative impact. So that we certainly do acknowledge. I'm just saying that in particular, that particular number I can't verify, and I don't think anybody can. It's obviously an expert opinion, and many, many experts, they don't all agree. As economists, they have their own fights behind the scenes.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Andrew Etzinger of Eskom.